Elon Musk has reportedly refused Kyiv's request to expand the service for guidance of deep strikes inside Russia, citing the danger of further escalation. After Trump reportedly cast doubt on a Patriot production license for Ukraine, Musk's refusal to expand Starlink access for deep strikes has created another setback. Has Starlink gone dark across Ukraine? The reported restriction could limit a specific plan to use satellite connectivity for targeting Russian missile launchers deep inside Russia. Critics may see Musk's decision as putting Ukraine at a disadvantage, but Musk's reported position is that enabling deep strikes could dangerously widen the war. The reported reason behind Musk's refusal is his concern that allowing Starlink to guide attacks inside Russia could trigger a more dangerous escalation. In a new twist, The Atlantic reported that Musk has refused to allow Ukraine to use Starlink connectivity for guidance of strikes on targets inside Russia, specifically Russian ballistic missile launchers. Ukraine relies heavily on Starlink for battlefield communications, but the current dispute concerns Kyiv's request to expand its use for deep operations inside Russia rather than a verified shutdown of existing Ukrainian connectivity. The development was reported by The Atlantic on August 7th, citing two close allies of former Ukrainian Defense Minister Mikhailo Fedorov, who said discussions with Musk remained unresolved. Despite his dismissal, Mikhailo Fedorov has reportedly continued using back channels to appeal directly to Musk, attempting to persuade him to approve expanded Starlink access for Ukrainian deep strike operations. But Musk has so far refused to relent, according to Fedorov's allies, who said there was still no positive decision on Ukraine's request to use Starlink against missile launcher targets in Russia. During his July visit to Washington, President Volodymyr Zelensky reportedly asked Donald Trump to help persuade Musk to approve Starlink support for Ukrainian drone operations inside Russia. Trump reportedly remained non-committal about Zelensky's request, saying he would consider the proposal but offering no immediate intervention with Musk or SpaceX. After Russia's full-scale invasion in 2022, Musk activated Starlink service in Ukraine and sent thousands of terminals, giving the country critical connectivity when conventional networks were under attack. Musk and Ukrainian officials later clashed over the boundaries of Starlink's use, as the billionaire increasingly argued that the war needed a negotiated settlement rather than continued escalation. Musk has repeatedly warned that expanding the conflict could risk a wider war, including World War III, using that concern to explain why SpaceX should not enable escalatory military operations. In 2023, Musk confirmed that he rejected a Ukrainian request to activate Starlink over Sevastopol to support an attack on Russia's Black Sea fleet, citing escalation risks. Musk said that if SpaceX had activated Starlink for the Sevastopol operation, the company would have been explicitly complicit in a major act of war and conflict escalation. Musk's reported refusal is being viewed as another setback for Ukraine, particularly as Kyiv seeks more air defense systems and greater freedom to strike the Russian infrastructure enabling missile attacks. Earlier, Trump reportedly said he was not sure whether Washington would license Ukraine to manufacture Patriot interceptors, despite previous remarks that Kyiv would be given production rights. Moscow has repeatedly argued that Western states become complicit when their weapons, specialists, or targeting support are used in attacks against Russian territory, a warning Kyiv's partners reject but must factor into escalation risks. According to reporting on the assessments, Russian President Vladimir Putin could try to test NATO's collective defense resolve through a limited assault on an allied country, rather than a broad conventional invasion. The intelligence assessments reportedly place the potential risk window between autumn 2026 and 2029, with the prospect of a limited incursion said to increase as time passes. Potential scenarios reportedly range from a large cyber attack and covert sabotage campaign to the seizure of a small area of NATO territory by unmarked forces or a limited land incursion. While a limited Russian land incursion is currently assessed as the least likely scenario, officials reportedly believe the danger could rise over time as Moscow rebuilds forces and adapts from the Ukraine war. A clear armed attack against a NATO member could trigger Article 5, under which allies commit to assist the attacked state with measures they individually deem necessary for collective defense. But a cyber attack, sabotage operation, or covert hybrid assault would present a more difficult test, because NATO must first determine attribution, scale, and whether the incident meets the threshold for collective action. Earlier U.S. assessments reportedly held that Putin was unlikely to deliberately provoke a NATO member, while Russia remained heavily focused on sustaining its war in Ukraine. The reported 2026 reassessment reflects fears that a more pressured or emboldened Putin could take greater risks, particularly if he believes NATO may hesitate over a limited or ambiguous attack. The apparent Russian objective would not necessarily be to defeat NATO militarily, but to fracture alliance unity by forcing members to argue over whether and how Washington should respond. An American research fellow said, and I quote, "The question mark is how the United States would respond in that case. It has always been a goal of Russia's to challenge the credibility of NATO and to separate the United States from its allies. This has always been NATO's challenge, to respond to a sub-Article 5 attack, and it's been very true that to this point, NATO allies have preferred not to escalate." End quote. The Pentagon and NATO's European headquarters reportedly declined to discuss the sensitive intelligence assessments publicly, reflecting the classified nature of the potential scenarios under review. A NATO spokesperson said the alliance remains ready to deter aggression and defend its members as necessary, seeking to reassure allies that its collective defense commitments remain credible. The intelligence warning comes as Russia continues investing in new forces, weapons production and military readiness, intensifying concerns about its ability to threaten NATO after the Ukraine war. Russia's Su-34 fighter bomber is drawing renewed attention after reports claimed it could be integrated with a long-range Kh-101 cruise missile. The reported combination could blur the traditional distinction between tactical strike fighters and strategic bomber aircraft in Russia's arsenal. Reports said the Kh-101's reported 5,500 kilometer range could allow Su-34 aircraft to launch deep strikes without entering NATO-controlled airspace. Twin-seat multi-role fighter bomber developed from the Su-27 flanker airframe for long-range strike operations. Reported combat radius of around 1,100 kilometers, while carrying a standard precision strike payload. Ferry range can reportedly reach up to 8,000 kilometers with external fuel tanks and reduced combat load. Compatible with glide bombs, cruise missiles and a wide range of precision-guided weapons for standoff attacks. Air-launched long-range cruise missile developed for precision deep strike missions against strategic targets. Reported strike range of up to 5,500 kilometers, enabling attacks far beyond the launch aircraft's combat radius. Uses a low observable terrain following flight profile designed to reduce radar detection and improve survivability. Reportedly available in both conventional and nuclear-capable variants, giving it strategic and tactical strike roles. Analysts said the standoff pairing could complicate NATO's defense planning by expanding Russia's ability to launch long-range attacks from safer distances. The Su-34 has already been used extensively in Ukraine to deliver glide bombs and long-range precision missiles against targets behind the front line. Air-launched long-range cruise missile designed for deep penetration precision strikes against strategic land targets. Reported range of up to 5,500 kilometers, allowing launch aircraft to engage targets from well outside hostile airspace. Low observable terrain following flight profile helps reduce radar detection and improve survivability against air defenses. Reported conventional and nuclear-capable variants provide flexibility for both strategic deterrence and long-range strike missions. Russia is also expanding Su-34 production while incorporating combat lessons learned during the war in Ukraine into newer aircraft. The reported development has raised questions over whether Moscow is reshaping its long-range airstrike doctrine for future conflicts. Defense analysts said the platform could significantly expand Russia's ability to conduct standoff precision strikes against targets across Europe.
Upgrade your news experience with the all-new HT app. Download now.